The Way of Will John.
What are you taking from these guys?
So, I mean, if you take the two most brilliant people in crypto at the moment, I think Michael Saylor is arguably one of them. Another one of them is CZ, so 𝗲𝗪𝗪𝗪 from Binance. He's the founder. He's the founder of Binance, and today one of the richest people in the world. I think his personal wealth is north of $70 billion. And I mean, you could probably put Elon Musk into the same category and stuff like that. What do they all have in common? They are single-minded in what they believe. They have conviction like none other, and they go all in, right? So like Michael Saylor is all in on Bitcoin. He's never selling. He's going all in. He took debt. He took a public company, took all his money, took all the debt to the public company. He's all in on Bitcoin. And today, if you look at Michael Saylor's purchases, actually Michael Saylor is negative now. If you look at where the market is, when he started buying, his net position is negative. He hasn't changed his tune. He's still completely obsessed and completely focused on crypto. And the same thing with CZ. CZ is completely focused. He doesn't have 1 cent of fiat money. He only has crypto. Wow. So what are the traits that most successful people in the world have? They have a sense of, so the first thing is they have a sense of conviction that nothing can sway them. Okay? So nothing can sway them. The second thing that they have is they have a sense of entitlement. They believe that the world owes them riches, success. So I don't know how vulgar can I be on your channel? Because
you can, you can say whatever you want. Like I said, I keep saying this in like every other podcast, but we had Star, we have another podcast where we're insane. Go for it, man. Okay, so this is I don't know if I should say this, but it's bad. We're speaking as friends here, so I call it. Go for it, man.
I call it dog. Okay, so I always call the most successful people in the world dog. And I'll tell you why I call it dog. Because when a dog is going to do its thing, you ever seen a dog that's going to shag another dog? Well, yeah, you can hit that dog with a broomstick. You can spray that dog with water. That dog doesn't care. That dog has got one thing on its mind. And so I always
single focus.
I just say that that's the kind of focus that these people need to have. Like at the office, we call it the dog index. And it's like your sense of like, how hard will you run before you stop? And that's like the index that we use. I know it's not the best word, the best terminology in the world, but I think it best paints the picture.
Totally.
There's people here listening to me and they're laughing at dog.
But it says the point, because that's it. I mean, now I can't even remember what the podcast that I'm doing where I had this conversation, but we live in a distracted world. I mean, you've probably read books like Deep Work, The One, or have you?
No, I'm not a big. Okay. I read some books, but I'm not really a big book reader because it doesn't suit my.
How did you get through Harvard? How do you do that?
I mean, I can read many books, and I've read many books, but I prefer to read snackable content. Like for me, like I think you can probably say everything you need to say in 10 minutes on a great Medium article, and you can dig much deeper on
simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously read when I'm on, very vaguely and broadly when I'm on holiday or vacation, and I'm not in accumulate mode. I was saying you want to be smart. You need to process a lot of information. You need to get a lot of opinions. And I think today I'm consuming about 8 hours of podcasts every single day. So every day I consume about 8 hours of content. I consume it on 2-speed. So it takes me about 4 hours.
Same.
Yeah. And the reason why I think 2-speed is very good is because on 1 speed, your mind can go to multiple places. But on 2-speed, you actually have to you really have to tune in to listen, right? So 2-speed for me really changed the game.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you have to have, and I mean, this is stuff that we've touched on, and what I was going with the reason why I was mentioning those books and things like that is because it does seem like the majority of Earth. Now, when you're doing this and you're listening to these podcasts or whatever, I'm curious actually before I even go on. Are these all based in one sector? Are you looking for something specific, or are you just trying to gain a good knowledge of the world, or what are you listening to really?
Probably 60% of what I listen to is cryptocurrency related, and I make sure that I listen to every single point of view from every single channel that I can. But I have a rule where I try and listen to places where I get a certain amount of alpha per minute listened. When I say alpha per minute listened, knowledge per minute listened, because there's some podcasts that go on forever and don't give you knowledge. Yeah. For me, I've got a very strict rule. I like to, so I've got my library of crypto stuff. And so crypto is obviously 60 to 70% of what I consume. A lot of other stuff that I consume is general business. So like the All In podcast, I don't know, it's with Jason Calacanis, 𝗃𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 and a half every week of consuming. I'm also fascinated by human behavior. So why humans do certain things. So, like the fact that we make certain purchase decisions or investment decisions is not coincidental. It's because of a very complex makeup of chemicals and how people are willing to guide our chemicals. So a mixture of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. And so I'm very fascinated by how they all work together, and then how you can use that to sway how people think and what they buy and what they, So I listen to a lot of information on stuff like that. So pretty much like a broad range. And then obviously like human health. So like I listen to a lot of stuff on like, fasting, not fasting, consumption of sugar, not consumption of sugar and stuff like that. But I'd say 70% of it is crypto because that's where my mind is.
I mean, that makes sense, obviously. And you can't have too much of a fractured mind. It's important to, have the blinders on, especially when you have a focused intent on what it is that you're trying to achieve, and then taking the other stuff. So you can also have this different and wide range type of stuff to help make you, to make a decision.